What's going on, guys? Welcome to 8 Count. This is a channel where me, Jack, am going to be discussing all things combat sports. I'm going to be focusing mainly on boxing and MMA, but I will dabble into other combat sports such as grappling, kickboxing, and Muay Thai if I feel the event is worth kind of dabbling into, and if I'm going to watch it, in all honesty. If I'm not going to watch it, I won't cover it. I do watch a whole lot of MMA and boxing. It's on pretty much every weekend now, so yeah, I'm always watching it. So I'll always be making content, hopefully, on it. But yeah, anyway, today's video is just going to be a short one, probably 10, 15 minutes, hopefully. No longer than that. I do like to go on a bit, but I'll try and keep it short. But yeah, going to be focusing on the Korean Zombie coming up against Alexander Volkanovski. But anyway, let's get straight into it. No wasting time. Here we are. Right, I'm on the UFC website right now. So yeah, it's a good fight. It's probably not the one that people wanted to see, but it is what it is at the end of the day. I think Chan Sung Young coming into this fight, obviously he wasn't the number one contender. He is the number four contender, though, I can tell you that right now. But yeah, obviously we wanted to see the Holloway fight. It's not going to happen yet, and it might not happen because can he pull an upset? And that's something I wouldn't be surprised at. Korean Zombie's got some great wins. Let's pull up their statistics here. Right. I mean, to be honest, I'm just hyped to watch the walkouts for this. I think two great walkouts in the UFC. I come from a land down under for Volk and the Korean Zombie. Coming out to Zombie by the Cranberries. Always a great walkout, especially if you're in Ireland. But yeah, obviously guys very similar in height and reach. What was it, half an inch in the reach and an inch in the height? Nothing in this game. Obviously you see some massive height and reach disadvantages. There's going to be one in boxing this weekend when Sebastian Fundora fights. He's 6'6" welterweight, or middleweight, yeah, which is just crazy. But yeah, this fight, man, it's going to be crazy. Obviously, as you can see by their percentages down here, the KO rate, 48% for Volk, 35% for the Korean Zombie. The submission rates, 47% for the Korean Zombie and 13% for Volk. 39% on the decisions for Volkanovski and 18% on the submissions for the Korean Zombie. Average fight time, Volk just over the 16-minute mark and just over the 12-minute mark for Chan Sung Young. And on the knockdowns, just, per 15 minutes, 0.51 for the Korean Zombie and 0.37 for Volkanovski. And I think this does kind of paint a picture in your head. Obviously, you can see the significant strikes landed per minute and just strikes landed per minute, I think it is. What can you really say about this? I think it kind of paints the picture of what it is. I think Volk is a very dominant fighter. He likes to lead the dance a lot. He likes to be the guy coming forward. And I think you do see that in his fights, to be fair. Chan Sung Young, on the other hand, I think is a guy who loves to come forward as well, but he's definitely more dynamic, I'd say. Obviously, I think Volk's got the more, well-rounded striking skill set. And I think it's going to show in the fight. However, Chan Sung Young isn't afraid to just throw something out there, which you might also see in this fight. But yeah, as you can see, both fighters, strikes landed per minute, significant anyway. Volk's landing, almost 2.5 more strikes per minute. And I think that's because of his, his style, which is so feint heavy, leading the dance. He loves to use the lead hand to really stop the offense coming out from his opponent, where he uses his lead hand to kind of stop their lead hand from doing anything. And the way he works off it with leg kicks and stuff like that, it's just such a fascinating style. And for me, I think it's kind of a bit of a shame that Max Holloway is in this division, because I think Max Holloway is such a fan favorite, and I think Volk would be more of a star if he wasn't here, because Volk's a great fighter, and he seems like a great guy as well. He's got a great character. As Brendan Rodgers would say, if you follow football, he's got a great character. But yeah, he seems like a lovely bloke. He's a fucking great fighter. Should be more respected in the game than he is, in my opinion. And sorry. But yeah, this is a crazy fight. Let's have a look at some of the past fights from each of these guys. Chan Sung Young, the Korean Zombie. Sorry, here are his previous results right here. So, sorry. In 2017, he came back from mandatory military service with South Korea. I think it was then anyway. Came back, he got a crazy win against Bermudez. It was his uppercut. And it does speak volumes about his game, this sort of finish. The same with Moicano in 2019. Kind of the different finishes, but you know, they show his ability to close the distance quickly. He's got great power, but it's not just about the power, it's about the timing. He's got great timing on these shots, in my opinion, and I think that's what makes him very deadly as well. The fact that he's able to have the power and the speed, the ability to close the distance, timing, and the fact that when he does drop an opponent, he's so quick on it as well. You know, he didn't really need it in the Bermudez fight. Bermudez was pretty much done straight after. But in the Moicano fight, he dropped him with an overhand. Straight away, he's on that back. And then it's not soon after he's got him flat and he's finishing him with strikes. He lost that Rodriguez fight. That Rodriguez fight was crazy though, right? It was one of those ones where it was just so one-sided. And it looked like it was going to a decision. They touched gloves with 10 seconds left. You're like, oh, okay, this is done. Then all of a sudden, Rodriguez hits him with this like drop-in back elbow. And, you know, it was just, it's crazy. It's one of those moments where you turn into Joe Rogan. You're at home, you're like, oh, shit. You know, it's just crazy. But yeah, I mean, it was a great fight. I did enjoy it, but I did feel a bit bad for the Korean Zombie. Since then, he got to win over Edgar. Lost to Ortega. That was a disappointing one. Kind of shows a bit of a tendency as well in this game where he's vulnerable to those more unorthodox strikes. You know, Ortega was able to catch him with the spinning elbow and dropped him with it, but Ortega kind of dominated that fight. If you can't remember that fight, it's the one where Ortega shaved his head and he was bald, but he had Godzilla's cup in his shorts. It was absolutely huge. I don't know who needs one that big. But anyway, since that, he did get the win over Dan Ige. Dan 50k Ige. You know, no slouch, Dan Ige. He's been in the top 15 for a while now, it seems like. You know, I think he's one of those guys who's going to beat anyone who's not going to be up for the task of making a run at the title. I'm not sure if he's ever going to be someone who is going to get to a position to have the title shot, but he's a great fighter, nevertheless. Volkanovski, I mean, since he's come into the UFC, he's been on an absolute tear. Yeah, I mean, Alkin's decision. Alkins is one tough guy. You have to kill him to get him out of there, to be fair. The Mendes fight, I think, you know, I think people will discredit this victory, but it was a great performance from Volk and it was very dominant. I think Mendes was starting to kind of come towards the end of his MMA career at this point. It's looking like now it may be, you know, he might be on a comeback, but we'll have to wait and see. But Mendes is a great fighter. Doesn't get the credit he deserves as well. This Aldo fight was an absolute masterclass from Volk. I mean, it's hard to do that to Aldo. I mean, you know, he's lost at 135 to Piotr Jan, who I think's a great fighter. And at 145 to Holloway, he's, you know, arguably the greatest featherweight of all time. Volk's definitely knocking on that door, though. The first fight with Holloway, I did score for Volk. I think it was 4-1 I might have scored it. But the second fight, I did score it 3-2 to Holloway. So yeah, it's a bit of a controversial one, but I'm hoping we will see this fight again in the future. The Ortega fight, man, this was one of the craziest fights, and it wasn't that crazy when you go back and watch it. Like the fact that Ortega pretty much dominated. I can't remember what round he got dropped with in the submission attempts, but he basically dominated every round between that round where he got dropped in the submission attempt and round 5 where you saw a bit of an onslaught from Ortega towards the end. But yeah, just the grit shown by Volk to get out of those submission attempts, the guillotine, and then the triangle choke. Obviously shows his skills as well on the ground, which could be really important in this fight. So let's talk about this matchup and how I think it's going to play out anyway. I think you're going to see Volk lead the dance, as I said earlier on. I think you're going to see him probably go to the legs quite a bit as well. I think he's going to want to slow down Korean Zombie. I think Zombie's got a chance in this fight, but it's going to be one where he's going to have to be explosive and he's going to have to pick his moment. I think a lot of fighters are froze by Volk, and it's not because they're worried about what he's doing per se. It's the fact that he's able to use his movement to an advantage. I think, Luke Thomas, who's an MMA kind of like journalist, he's on Morning Combat as well. He had an interview out with Volkanovski recently, and it was very interesting listen. And they're talking about movement in MMA and Volk, how Volk uses his and other people use theirs, and a lot of people use a lot of wasted movement, but Volk isn't. He's always making you think, and he's overloading these his opponents, and it's going to be hard for the Korean Zombie to stop Volk from doing that. I think his offense is probably going to become kind of like leaping in with shots, probably not the cleanest of technique. It's going to be whether he can catch Volk with one of these shots and hurt Volk. I think if the Korean Zombie's going to win, I think it's going to be something to do with him leaping in with a right hook, catching Volk, and getting him in the scramble somewhere, whether that be a Darce choke from sprawl or him taking the back, getting a rear naked. Obviously, Chan Sung Young is a brilliant grappler, and he's so quick in the scrambles. It's going to be interesting to see if that does come into play at all. I was thinking about how, potentially Chan Sung Young could actually get this fight to the ground, because I think his biggest strength over Volkanovski would be on the ground, just because of his, how much different the variety of attacks he's got from the bottom, from being on the ground on top. He's got Henry Cejudo in his corner, and I think it's going to be interesting to see whether he's going to look to implement takedowns into his game. I don't really see it happening though. I think the only way this fight's going to end up on the ground if someone's knocked down, and it's going to be an interesting one. I know Volk's not afraid to go into anyone's guard, so don't think if he knocks down Chan Sung Young, he won't go into his guard. Volk's very strong from the top position as well, loves to use some ground and pound from, the guard position. So, I think if the Korean Zombie's going to get it done anyway, he's going to get in with a right hook. This is my prediction for it. Right hook, Volk's going to go down, and he'll catch him in a Darce or a rear naked. Probably somewhere around the third round, if that was to happen, if he's going to win. However, I think Volk's going to win. I think he's got too many skills on the feet, and I think Chan Sung Young, despite being so explosive and having great timing and power, I think that Volk's stand-up is probably on the different levels to his, and I think it's going to be very hard for him to get in on Volkanovski and to really just get anything going. I could see this fight, this is my official prediction. I think Volk probably gets a 50-44 decision majority. You know, I just don't see how the Korean Zombie's going to get in on him. However, the feeling, like, it's not like you can think with your head in MMA, and you can look at, 1 + 1 = 2, but in MMA it don't work like that. And a lot of the time in MMA, I actually make, if I'm doing predictions, I go off my heart a lot, and my heart says that the Korean Zombie somehow is going to get the job done. It's just how it's meant to be in MMA. It's like Ferguson was never meant to fight Khabib, and maybe the Holloway trilogy is not meant to happen. But we'll see. But anyway, guys, I've really enjoyed making this video. Hopefully you've actually enjoyed watching it. I was a bit nervous. This is my first video going up on the channel. But it's going to be the first of many, I can assure you of that. I've got another few coming out this week. I've got 3 more videos I'm doing. One on Burns versus Chimaev. One on Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. That's going to be an interesting fight as well. I think it's going to go very differently to the first fight, but I'll let you know in that video. And I've also got one on the boxing. We've got 4 great boxing events coming up this week. Ryan Garcia, Triple G's fighting, Ugas versus Errol Spence Jr. And we've got, there's one more. Oh, Sebastian Fundora. That's going to be crazy as well. If you haven't seen that guy fight, you definitely got to check that one out. But yeah, so I'm probably going to do an upload on Wednesday, Thursday, maybe a double on Thursday, or Thursday, Friday. But anyway, that's been the end of the video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed, just leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you can see all the content I hopefully bring out. As my phone goes off, that should have been on silent. Very unprofessional. I apologise. But yeah, anyway, let me know in the comments down below who you think's going to win if you do manage to see this video, because obviously I've got 0 subscribers. But if you do manage to see this video before the fights happen, let me know who you think's going to win. Maybe give me 2. Maybe give me, with the head and one with the heart. Let me know who you're rooting for, and let me know how you think it's going to go. But anyway, until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.